story seekers. Today we're talking about The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell, which is the first in the Land of Stories series by Colfer. I believe he's from Glee. I think you might have to check that for me, maybe. I don't know if that was a joke or not. So Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell is about these two twins that are on the front cover. They are Alex and Connor, and they are about to turn 12. Their father has recently passed away. Their mother is a single mother working all the time, and their grandmother stops by every once in a while, and for their 12th birthday she gives them the book of Land of Stories. It's basically this fairy tale book with this collection of stories, and they always grew up knowing that they were fairy tales and not really real until they fall into the book. So in the Land of Stories they get to meet all sorts of characters, from Cinderella to the Evil Queen, and you get to hear a little bit more about those characters, not just like what happened in those original stories, but like a little extra, like, you know, now Cinderella is an expecting mother and the Evil Queen has been thrown into jail, and, you know, crazy things are happening in the Land of Stories. Colfer has been writing this over the past 10 years, I believe, and it very much shows his progression. I believe, like, even though you only see the final product, I feel like, I know I watched him at the BEA Children's Breakfast last month, and he talked about, you know, how it was awful and his grandmother would just throw chapters away, and he finally got to this point where he was able to publish the book, and I think it's a pretty good book. There are parts where it gets a little bit preachy at different lines where he's just like, and the moral of the story is this. It's just a little too forward sometimes when it could be, you know, in the story and able for you to kind of figure out on your own. I know at the beginning of the book it talks about, you know, how people can have different interpretations of a story and of a fairy tale, and Alex is talking to her brother about how he interpreted one of the fairy tales. I believe he interpreted Boy Who Cried Wolf, and he had a certain interpretation of it, and she was like, you know, this is how I would have interpreted it, but I respect that you have a different interpretation of it. But there are times where, you know, with LV, the Evil Queen, she just has a really good backstory, and she just totally rocks my world. She's amazing in a different kind of way, and like there's a point of the story that she just, like, I don't know, she's just like, you get to hear about her backstory and things, and it totally kind of shifts your perspective about villains. That's a pretty cool thing, that it's not just like, here's some fairy tales. It's just kind of like, here's, you know, these complex characters who are fairy tale characters, but it's not like they just had this one story and that's it. They have like multiple stories and with their lives and stuff like that. These are real characters, and so he really brought them to life in a really good way. Let it be known that this is a children's novel, and so I might not have enjoyed it as much as I would have if I was, say, like 8 to 12 years old. In that area I would have liked it a whole lot, but there are times where I was just like kind of, I don't know, I felt like some of it was just a little bit too yippee skippy. We're having a good time off in the Land of Stories, and I was like, I want big things to happen, because I'm used to Jackson Pierce with her dark fairy tale stuff, and this is definitely not dark at all. There are times where they're kind of running for their lives, but it's not dark at all. So if you want your kid to read this book, if you have a niece, nephew, cousin, maybe you're 8 to 12 years old, this will be the book for that person, for you, whatever, if you like fairy tale stuff. So there you have it. There is my review for Land of Stories by Colfer. You should go pick it up. I believe it is $17.99. I guess that's a hardback cover or something. I've never heard of a kid's book being that expensive, but I believe it might come with something special. I know mine came with a special box because I got this at BEA Children's Breakfast, and so it's nice and fanciful. If you didn't see my BEA book haul, this is what the box looks like. It's got Colfer's face on the front, and it opens up, and it looks like, I guess this is the Land of Stories kind of book, where it's like kind of handwritten, and this is kind of, looks like the front of the book. And as they fall into a magical book where fairy tales come to life. Beware, once you open its pages, you too will fall under its spell, which is true. It really sucks you in. And then there's a special little card note from him. Now I guess this would be like for the ARC, definitely, because it's like upcoming publication. And so, yeah, maybe it'll come with something special. I haven't been to the store to see what it looks like, but hopefully it's some sort of really fancy special edition. I was hoping for like a little bit more illustrations, because there are illustrations at the beginning of the chapter, kind of like there are for Harry Potter. But as far as like in between stuff, it would have been really cool to kind of see that, especially since it is a children's novel, and you know, children's novels usually have illustrations of some sort. So I hope you all go check that book out. It was pretty freaking good. And so yeah, Chris Colfer, I was surprised, because a lot of people were like, I don't expect it to be good, and I was like, but he's been writing it for 10 years, so. And so I think it's pretty good for a children's novel. So there you have it. All right, have a great day, keep reading.